I can build $100 million company very easily, full remote. You can be in any location and build an amazing company.
Well, I'm going to challenge that a little bit.
Okay.
Sahin, one of Silicon Valley's serial founders who turned remote work into real global scale.
So you took remote team
From zero to full exit
in what?
508 days.
I mean, that is pretty crazy.
It's crazy. I believe that we are in the brink of a new kind of capitalism. Now the opportunities are endless.
That's a good point.
From building startups as a teenager in Turkey to launching 4 companies, selling one to GiphyCat and getting Remote Team acquired by Gusto, Sahin has lived the journey every founder dreams of.
When you look at the founders who build unicorn companies, like $1 billion companies, they have no expertise. This is crazy. So by default, every day you are taking risk on every single bet you are doing. So the way I look at it is,
Sahin,
nice to meet you, man.
good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. You launched your first company at the age of 17?
Earlier.
Earlier? How old were you?
I started my first business when I was 12 years old, selling computer games.
What was the first spark that made you think, okay, I want to go into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, this is very interesting. So I'm a little bit lucky on that. I'm a third generation entrepreneur in my family. So my only life choice was I have to be an entrepreneur. But I had a computer very early age, and all the kids in my street wants to play with the computer. So I built a small place. They pay me like 5,000 Turkish lira at that time, and I give them like 10 minutes. And then I realized that the more games I have, they will pay me more. So I start to sell games, buy games, and the games they play in my house, they want to buy it. So then I had a disc at that time, and I started like that.
Try before you buy.
Try before you buy.
You're effectively renting out CPUs at the time.
At the time. But it's
Which is now quite an interesting model. Multi-trillion-dollar companies doing that. So yeah, really ahead of your time.
And then after it's very organic. So when I think I find a small idea, you go deeper. So then the kids start to ask, because I make a lot of money. I was making more money than my father at that time. And then I get a better computer, like a super cool computer, a gaming computer. I had 2 computers in our living room. My mom hated it. So we have kids coming and playing. And then I start to learn how to build a computer. And then when the kids come, we had rich kids, it's like, oh, okay, I want to have this computer. And then I actually start to sell computer to them. Yeah, that was my first.
What were the games? All the games back then that you were playing?
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I play Command and Conquer with my 8-year-old.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah, he's obsessed with it. I was like, okay, if you do that, if you can play this game, you know how to handle resources.
Well, it's something similar. My friend Harry Stebbings, who runs 20 VC.
Yeah.
He said one common thing out of every single unicorn founder that he's ever interviewed is that they were into video games, heavily when they were kids. Right?
I think so.
Not only playing, but sometimes building them, right?
Yeah.
So.
I also learned coding by trying to crack the games. So you go there, I want to change the goal. How do I do it? And then you have this assembler language. That was my first introduction to computers. You go and you check in. At that time we had BBS, not cool internet, but then I check, I need to increase the goal. And I sort of learned the programming during that. So I think gaming really helps.
Yeah. Helps to be a team player as well, helps with collaboration. Once these online games started coming on organization. I still remember playing Theme Hospital.
Unlo is a good game.
You know how systems work together?
Yes. This is the resources, you get things from there, sell it. I is a good, anyone who wants, I think, to become a founder from also your insight, your friend insight is start with risk. And now get a few more games, do some strategy games, and then have this Anno, SimCity. Then if you can do it, you can run a company.
Then we can, yeah. And you're now, what are you on, your 5th company?
No, I had 4 companies in Turkey, and I had 4 companies in Silicon Valley. So this is my 9th company in life.
Wow.
And the crazy
9
thing,
lives.
9 lives. And the crazy thing is none of them were related. Until this one. Now this one is when you look back, you see how things are connected. Now is sort of the story of my life and the biggest passion I have is like combined with all the experience I have, and I can do this.
So they're all compounding on top of each other.
All compounding.
So talk us through each level of those 9 lives.
So the first one is I started like, this is also another interesting thing. So we were a middle class family, not super rich, not super poor, but I always want to have a phone, and we didn't have money to buy a phone. And I want to buy a second-hand phone. And I was going to all these phone stores in Turkey, Istanbul, and looking for the prices. And I said, there's no website to do this. And I didn't know how to do website programming. So I had a friend who is interested in design. I said, I'm horrible in design. I cannot even draw a line. So you do the design, I do the HTML, and we're going to build the first website to buy and sell second-hand phones. And that was my first actually real company when I was 17. And then we started to sell first-hand phones, like new phones, used phones, and we built a huge e-commerce out of it, like one of the first e-commerce in Turkey. And then I built, I'm always like, there's a need. So, and then I was doing the e-commerce, and then I was using these horrible accounting software, and they were not for e-commerce companies. And I said, I need to write an e-commerce. I need to write accounting software for e-commerce companies. And then I did that. It just grow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And now you're launching a 9th company.
Yes.
Maybe it's the final one.
It's the final one. I feel it.
I think 9 lives is enough.
Enough. I can say
So tell us more about it.
Yeah. So after you're doing 9 companies, and then I also help a lot of my former employees to build companies. I invest in a lot. I remember one day, because I sometimes give the most initial check and become a major investor, they always say, I'm the HR guy also, like help them. Can you be my fractional CFO? I said, okay, I'll help you. And then one time I had like 11 companies that I'm helping. As like I was doing their accounting, I was doing their banking, I was doing their cards. I have multiple bank accounts, multiple card accounts. My one password was crazy. And I was thinking like no founder should go through this. Like you just want to build a company, but you have to deal with all the banks, all the accounting, all the credit card, and then you have no insights about your company. You don't know where you are spending your money. You don't know the details. You copy the same horrible data to accounting, try to make sense of it. Doesn't work. Then you hire a CFO, or they were using me for free. The whole thing should change, and they should get a like all-in-one stack that every financial need for a person who is starting the new company should be satisfied there. And that was my insight. The other thing is now, when you look at the old tool set that is enabled for people to build companies, build products especially, it's just insane. You can build something like so fast.
Yeah.
So this is the best time for anyone to build a company.
And next year it'll be even better.
Even better. Yeah, it's getting easier. And sort of, I believe technical people, developers are going to be the rulers of the world. But like you get every day, it's getting easier. It's easier to design. It's easier to build a product. It's easier to do marketing. It's easier to grow. It's easier to hire. And I think this will enable like tens of millions of people to build companies. And we see the trend. Like in US, there's 500,000 companies cooperated every month, 6 million a year. And the digital first, AI first is like skyrocketing. And I want to be their finance stack. But the thing that I'm exciting also, you see that industrialization of entrepreneurship. So everything that we secretly know, like these unwritten rules, are becoming written. And wherever you are now, you are in outside of Silicon Valley. Let's say you are in US, you are in Brazil, you are in Middle East, you are in Israel, you are in Turkey, you are in Ukraine. Now you access the same information and same tool set. And now also the money, because the way to build something successful, you have to build it, build a demo, and then go try to raise money. Now people build stuff and get like $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month, then they just grow. So the needs are getting easier. So then You can just launch
foundations. The foundations used to be so expensive.
So expensive.
Like even when I see my first business, what was in 2014,
Okay,
right?
what was
But back then, that was Velocity Black. That was my. It was my first like proper business. Yeah, I did lots of things when I was younger, so like made games, sold things. Downloaded things illegally and sold them, did all sorts of things.
You have to hack your way in.
Yeah, literally hacking at some point. But yeah, like that was my first business. But back then, I used to have other founders tell me, well, 15 years ago, we had to go and spend like $1 million on buying physical servers and putting in place that infrastructure, right? And every startup had to do that, right? And then obviously, you have companies like Amazon and stuff come on, Microsoft and everyone now offering all of this stuff in the cloud. So you remove a huge roadblock to people starting companies. So, we were cloud native from day one as Velocity Black, but we had a lot of other challenges, right? So hiring all these different specialists across all these different areas. And that's another roadblock to starting a company. Nowadays, you can write a single line in natural language and you can have an agent working for you full time in a particular function or specialty, right? So all these roadblocks are getting removed and hopefully that's going to lead to as you said, tens of millions of new entrepreneurs who otherwise wouldn't have been able to do this, right?
And I think also the thing that I'm more excited about is like the more entrepreneurs come into the system, the more needs and the more efficiency comes. And I think also, I believe that we are in the brink of a new kind of capitalism. I call it the future of living. So I don't believe we are meant to, we were lucky, we were out of the matrix long time ago, but like you wake up, you go to office and you work there for 8 hours. Like you want to go to dentist, you need to ask your boss to do that, right? And then what you are doing is just to live. Right now, you have a skill and you are getting good at skill. You are learning faster. And I want to monetize my skill. Now the opportunities are endless. And then that will allow people to live a happier life. They don't need to be in the city anymore. They don't need to be in the center of the gravity anymore. They can just live somewhere so far and have the servers, have the product, have the people, have the agents, and gonna make money that is enough for their life, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it will change the whole, I think we are in that brink of a new type of commerce. Anytime you enable, the technology enables like a 10x, 100x, 1000x, it also increases the wealth of the, so in the past, like when we had cloud computers, maybe the best companies like $100 million. Now we are seeing $1 trillion companies. Yeah. We're gonna see people, just one person like, I forgot the name, Base 44, and he sold his company for $80 million, like one guy.
Yeah.
We're gonna see so many of these people. And the thing I like about entrepreneurs versus like industrialists, like these like old businesses, I think tech people are in their heart, like they think to build services for other people. Like I think they're high empathy. Like I think to be a founder, you need to be a high empathy. You need to be very empathetic. And you think, like if you think every religion, what does it say? Think others more than you. It's very simple, right? And then in tech, you have to think others more than yourself, right? You have to think your team. You have to constantly think about your employees. You have to constantly think about
You're in service.
You're in service. Yeah. Your investors, your customers, like you need to. So I think that also the more entrepreneurs who love their business, building services easier, I think we're gonna have a way happier world in the coming, I think, 10, 20 years.
Okay, I love that. Yeah,
I'm very positive. I don't believe we're gonna be taken over by robots or AI.
No, I think that will unlock even more opportunities.
Right?
So yeah, it's gonna lead to abundance, and I think many more people working for themselves.
Yes.
Right? And more leisure time. Right?
Yeah, more leisure time.
The work that people will be doing will be far more creative and far more related to leisure. Yes. Right. We have this thesis at C called the future of no work, right?
Future of no work, you call it.
Future of no work. So look, in some ways you can see this as dystopian. I don't know. I think there's two different directions it could go. You can have I think there's going to be a lot of people who, create their own businesses and things to the point where, things are working for them. Their capital is working for them, right? While they sleep or while they work, but while they enjoy themselves. And so they're not going to be spending much of their day working.
Yeah, you
right?
might not.
And if you look at the trend over the past 100 years, the average number of hours worked per human per week has continued coming down, right? And I think AI is going to accelerate that trend,
yes.
right? And so I think you're going to kind of have two sections of society, right? You're going to have these people who don't need to work because their capital has kind of freed them from working, and they have agents and stuff working for them.
Done.
And so they're going to spend a lot of their time in the real world, we think, experiencing the real world, traveling a lot more, spending time with their family and friends.
Yeah.
Now, the other end of the spectrum, I do think that there is some risk of, mass unemployment for a period of time until people are reskilled. And you have to think, like, what are governments going to do to support those people, right? Firstly, they need some resources to support them. And I have this one dystopian thesis that we may end up with them. Okay, you've got two options if you're unemployed. I can either give you, $1,000 a month, right? And you have to make that last in the real world. Or I've got this simulation that I'm going to plug you into.
That's
and I'm going to give you
inception, or like get the lucid dream pill.
I'm going to
all the
give you
time.
a feeding tube.
Okay.
Right?
Some people, there's
And
a
by the
market.
way,
Right.
in this simulation, you can do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want to be, and it's going to be hyper realistic, right? So
Yes,
someone's
of
gonna-
course. In like 10
Now, and I
years.
think a lot of people might opt for that, right? So I think you're going to have this dystopian kind of world where you have a lot of people who have done well enough to live in the real world and experience things in reality. And then you may have some people who unfortunately don't have the resources to do that. And the government is going to have to support those people. And I think a cheaper way for the government to support those people will be plugging them into some sort of simulation where those people are still stimulated and feel like they can do whatever they want. But it's much cheaper to support them because they're sat in a chair with a feeding tube. So that's my one of our dystopian thesis about the future. And I'm unsure, if how I feel about it, but I think there's a significant chance it happens.
I think when you look back, so it's very interesting. I was born in US, but grew up in Turkey. And I spent so much time in Ottoman archives because it's like before, I think when you look at the history, Roman archives is one of the most biggest archives. Then Ottoman Empire was nuts. They write everything. And they had sometimes for like 50 to 100 and even more, they were going to every village and they had these like judge kind of people go to every village and ask people, do you need anything? Are you happy? They do surveys, but it's crazy. And then I don't remember the research I read a long time ago, and they did a survey that 98% of the people were happy and they don't need anything from the government. So I think we are so used to having this lifestyle that it's in the buildings, it's in the city, we are constantly in need of something more, right? So, but if you remove that a little bit, so if you get people like making insane amount of money very fast, so what happens? So first they have to fulfill all their weird desires. I need a car, I need materialism, I need to buy a cool things. And after that, what you see, we are both an exited founder and we are surrounded by a lot of post-exit founders. Then you have a sort of a like emptiness in you that I want to do something nice to the world, right? And then this was Elon Musk said, so if you leave people with wealth, they end up giving most of their wealth to philanthropy like you, right? You invest in a lot of good things. Yeah. And I think because they're going to hack the system so fast that they're going to take the money from the capitalism to the technocrats, let's say. And then I believe these people will have so many systems again built by AI that will help other people, because there was time in Middle East also, I forgot the country, the reason they built the first bank is not for the money. They had everyone was giving the rich was giving so much money to the poor, and the poor didn't need the money, so they built a bank to store the money.
Interesting.
The humanity had these times. We are not like animals that trying to kill all the wars, but we are in this weird system that is forcing us.
Risk is like a really important part. Taking risk and getting comfortable with taking risk and getting comfortable with ambiguity is an important part of making breakthroughs, right? And ultimately creating value for other people.
Yeah.
What is one big risk that other people thought was reckless that you took, which ended up, creating value?
That's a good question. I have thousands of risks. The way I think people should think, when you are starting a company, it's like you have a small boat that you start in UK and you need to go to US and without no campus, right? So you have to figure out by looking at the stars. I think like you don't know what you are doing by default. There is no way. You have a dream that you want to go, right? You have something to build. And then you have assumptions, right? As a startup, okay, I'm making these assumptions and I want to test with the market. I want to test my products. But 99 times of your assumptions are wrong. So by every second you are taking a risk in every single company. And I'm a little bit weird here. Most of the companies I started, I had no idea. Like zero experience. And actually you see it in the super founder books. Actually you have it in your office, right? So when you look at the super founders, and this should motivate so many people to start a company. When you look at the companies, founders who build unicorn companies, like $1 billion companies, they have no expertise. It's crazy. 70% have no expertise. It's crazy, right? So it means that if you know, it's not even good.
It can work against you.
It works against you because you think so much. So by default, every day you are taking risk on every single bet you are doing. So the way I look at it is, there is no way you can do risk minimization. It's nearly impossible because you don't know what you are doing. You don't know how other people will react. You don't know how market will react. You can minimize that for sure. But for me I never look at it as a risk. I look at it as like, what can I put in front of people as fast as possible and collect as many feedback possible, and how many times I will get wrong doing that, and say that, okay, our assumptions were wrong, like everything was wrong, and fix that and improve that. I think the more models we build on that, I think we'll be more successful, because every time you are having 5 ideas, I want to do this, it's a huge risk. Or you do this, it's a huge risk. Because there is no guarantees. Even for successful founders, there is no guarantee. You start something and it will be very likely that if you don't build that very quick testing mechanism, you will fail.
I love that.
So one thing that I did was, I had a great company, Leo AR. It was going really good. And then, it's very funny actually. I had a place in Costa Rica in an ayahuasca ceremony, like it's a part of ayahuasca ceremony. And they take ayahuasca, and it was my probably 10th ayahuasca experience, but I see a whole world that was, cities were empty. It's probably one of the movies I get affected. I was watching 12 Monkeys TV show at that time. It's a very good TV show. And then I saw the whole world is like becoming remote, like, but in a good way. Like the cities are empty because people move to suburbs, having a happier life. And I said, I want to focus on remote work. And at that time, even remote work was like very small. I said, I'm going to do a huge company around remote work. And I want people to work remotely, which everyone was forced to go to office, and then COVID hit. So I took a huge risk, left my company. One person started to build a company, and then COVID hit, and my company exploded, right? But that was a huge risk.
So you took, remote team from incorporation to sale in what?
508 days.
580
days.
Yeah, 5.5
days. Years.
1.5 years. All over Zoom.
All over Zoom, no human meeting.
I mean, that is pretty crazy.
It's crazy. So I started a company, but at that time I was a third-time entrepreneur. I already did a small exit. So that was a little bit help you to raise your initial capital faster. So I incorporated the company on October 29. So October 29, 2019. I had one guy, I said, okay, I want to build, it comes from my own problem too. I think one of the things that every entrepreneur needs to do, and most people who work in companies can't see this, is you need to learn the entrepreneur tool set to come up with the ideas and the problems, right? So my problem was I had always remote teams, and I always want to pay them, and there was no system. Like I just want to click one click and pay them, right? Some of them working hourly, some of them working full time, and it was driving me nuts. And I said, man, I will build this, and I want to support remote work, and I like remote work as well. So then we cooperated in October 19. We launched our product on February, which was a basic wrapper of over TransferWise. But because but we built a good experience with attached time tracking apps that you can track the hourly. And then COVID hit during that time, and we like exploded like thousands of companies. And I never met with an investor. It's all over Zoom, because I was already doing that. All of my team hiring was over Zoom. All of my customer calls was over Zoom. And then COVID hit, everything becomes Zoom. All of my bank partnerships were over Zoom. That was more crazy to me. Like we had 6 bank partnership with international rails partnerships all over Zoom. And then my M&A was all over Zoom. And I sold my company to Gusto. And then I didn't go to Gusto for 1.5 years. That was all over Zoom.
Amazing.
No, I think when you look at it, and there's something more crazy. Most of my team members, it was their first job in life.
Wow.
I was their first employer.
Amazing.
So I think when you look at this, it can be, I think there's companies that exist over Zoom, but from zero to full exit, and even after, like everything was Zoom, I'm not sure how many companies. I wish I can learn. Like, I think I might be one of the few ones in the world.
One of the only people to do it.
Yeah.
Amazing. What a crazy story.
And I did 1,000 meetings. All of my meetings were on Calendly.
Yeah.
So, of course, some of my team members just go to my calendar and pick it. I couldn't count that, but all of my meetings were on Calendly. So I also did 1,000 meetings.
Amazing.
The crazy thing was, like, if I were in Africa, I think I will be the same success. So it means that location is not enough anymore. Like, it's not important anymore. You can be serious in any location and build an amazing company.
Well, I'm going to challenge that a little bit.
Little bit?
Why are you going to San Francisco this week?
I know.
So there is still like a nexus of, you get a network of people in one place, right? And it's with a certain energy, right? And like a lot of builders, a lot of investors. And, whilst you can build, as you've proven, you can build and exit a company entirely through Zoom. Meeting people in person, there is there is some power in proximity, right? And and so I think that there is a way to do it both ways, right? You can build a company completely remotely. I do think in some cases, and it depends on the industry, there's a big advantage from going to meet people in person.
Yes.
Right.
So I believe so when I look at it, it will sound crazy, but I believe I can build $100 million company very easily, full remote. So it means that you can build something very cool. But here in this company, I'm going for $100 billion.
Yes.
Okay, for $100 billion, you need to be eye to eye with people and doing brainstorming, like spend time okay, Zoom is great, but having the 6 people talking nonstop, I think 100% I like that more than Zoom. I think it's the level of difference. So let's say if you want to build a small company, 100 companies is not a small company. Like if you want to build a $100 million company, I think you can do it over Zoom, for sure. But if you are going for, I want to build the next Anthropic, I want to build the next OpenAI, I want to build the next this in finance, then you need to be in the epicenter of, like, you can be a great hedge fund in anywhere in the world, but to be in the major league, you need to be in New York. Or if you can build a tech company anywhere, like we see Lovable. Now Europe is killing, like unbelievable, Relowood, Lovable, right? They can be anywhere, but I think they hired the CFO that I know is in San Francisco. So you still need to be there because the top talent and the energy is there. So you go to a coffee shop, everyone is a startup person. You only talk startup, and everyone is pretty smart.
Yeah.
So it's like that is important. Like we should not skip that. Like, okay, I'm very for remote work, but I think I will be more in San Francisco in this company. I have to be.
What was the first thing you bought after you had an exit?
That's a good question. So I went through a horrible exit process because, like, you know, exits, like it can go, like you meet with so many people. So, and this is very funny. We had a house we were renting, and the owner says, I sold the house, you have to leave in like 5 days. And my exit was July 29, and we have to leave in 2 days. But I put a bid on another house, but we couldn't get the mortgage because SafeNote looks like a debt in the company. It's a liability in the eyes of the bankers. That's why we had the Silicon Valley Bank in the past, right? Because you raise $2 million, you own 100% of the company, and then they think it's like you owe money, right? So they don't get a mortgage. So we had the exit. God bless. There's a great company, Better.com. They really like give a mortgage in 2 days. So that's my first big purchase. But I got there's a bed called In Harmony. Mm-hmm. It's a vibration sound bed. You put this bilineal sounds. Cool. Yeah, so it was $5,000, and I never have a big purchase. So I had that like bed, like was my first thing, and I always want a great B&W speakers.
Yeah,
Is British? You from
B&W? Yeah.
Very old Brit says that. I had a very good B&W that I wanted all of my life. It's not the first, maybe first. I bought that too, and I want a very good water filter.
Nearly all those things are related to health.
Health.
Yeah, so you had the bed, you want to sleep better.
Yes.
Bedrock of everything.
Yeah.
Better water.
Better water.
Same, yeah. We have like, you know, my team, we have a budget for investing in our office, and our team voted to buy a reverse osmosis tap to get some really good water.
It looks like a lab made.
And when you ask exited founders, like what's the best investment they've made since they sold, one of the most popular answers is a chef, right?
Chef is a good one, yeah.
To buy like the best ingredients and then to cook like fresh meals for them every meal. So yeah, that's good to hear. Rather than, you know, me, you know, go and buy a watch or whatever.
Yeah, I have no material obsessions. Yeah. For me, it's like you should not buy a car because, like, you should because you went through a horrible full of cortisol and stressful thing. You need to invest in yourself. Like, I think biohacking, wellness devices is true, and just like clean up yourself a little bit. Yeah. And then, okay, I need a better health to enjoy these material things. If you still like brands, cars, then go buy it. Some people really like it. You know?
Yeah, no, I don't have any road cars at the moment, but track cars, race cars.
Okay, for me, the car is Tesla. I have no other car. I miss when I go and rent a car, I miss my Tesla.
Yeah. Like many entrepreneurs, you have quite contrary beliefs, you know?
Okay.
Like I do. And so in some cases controversial.
What is your most contrary belief? Few of them.
I personally love operating in markets that people aren't interested in at all.
It's good. Yeah.
And you know, and typically people think of market sizes in terms of like they work it out by like number of people and stuff in a market, right? And then they try and define how many dollars you can extract, right? And there's this whole like the reason a lot of products have ignored like high net worth individuals as a market is because they believe it to be a small market, right? And it is small in terms of number of people, but it is huge in terms of dollars, right? And you have 60% of world spending is spent by 0.4% of the world's population.
Interesting.
And so if, you know, I've always found it great to operate in this, what is perceived to be a very small market. And actually the fact that it is small in terms of number of individuals is beneficial because it's way easier to acquire them all, right?
Interesting. Yeah,
And
yeah,
you only need a few thousand customers to build a $10 billion business in that space.
You have to get your first customer by face-to-face anyway.
Anyway, yeah.
So just go get
So why not get a whale who
Yeah,
can
why
spend
not
$1
a
million,
whale?
right?
That's smarter, yeah. I know what
So
you're
yeah,
doing.
so I like operating in that space. It's typically completely ignored by VCs and by founders. And yeah, look, my belief is that you can build beautiful technology for those customers, and you can make it. You can make $10 billion businesses doing that in that space.
Okay.
So that's one relatively. But look, outside of tech, like one belief I have at the moment, which is quite controversial, is I think we're going to see a rise in religion.
Rise in religion.
Yes, in religious participation. Yeah. So after many.
Why? I think the opposite. That's why. Because I think when you look at everyone says I am the truth, right? And which one is the truth? And I look at like for 2,000 years, we couldn't even figure out which one is the true one. So do you think it will be a new religion, or the current religion will change a form?
Who knows? I definitely think it'll be a mixture of both. So I think, we went from like the Renaissance, right? Where like before the Renaissance, everyone believed God was all powerful, right?
Yes.
And you're born in whatever situation, you die in that situation. You can't improve your own life. God decides, you have fate.
Yeah.
Then you have Renaissance, and suddenly people believe in the power of man, right? And man's ability to change things. So that's the real start of the kind of decline in religious participation, right? Or at least what would lead to
what do you see today that do you think it will increase that?
So we went from the theocentric to the human-centric, right? And, the Industrial Revolution and various other things, which led, again, people were like, well, we can shape the world and we can change the world. God doesn't define what I do. But now we're moving into the machine era, and we are going to be creating things for the first time, which
will affect the physical world.
Which will affect the physical world. And these things are smarter than us and more powerful than us. And for a lot of people, they're going to feel even more lost than they already do, right? And there are all these other trends around loneliness and how social media is dividing people.
Yeah.
And so what I think you're going to find is, the move from the sort of theocentric pre-Renaissance era to the like humanist Industrial Revolution era led to a big drop-off in religious participation. But now we have something out there which actually really takes away the power of humans. And we created something which is way more powerful than us. And so what we're going to see is a shift back to people actually searching for meaning and searching for something to believe in, right? Because suddenly we will be not the most powerful thing in the world, and there'll be something else which hopefully will be doing good, right? But maybe it'll be doing bad things. But either way, I think people will search for belief in something, which, so I think we're going to see an increase in religious participation. Some of that will be existing religions. I do think there's opportunities to create new religions as well.
Yeah, I always say I want to create a new religion and exit to Vatican. So
that'll be my final startup.
So, but the way I look at it is different. The way I look at it is people like will spend more time on the family. And I moved to Texas. Texas is very religious. And then I think when you spend more time with the nature, family, you automatically become a little bit religious. When you were saying, I was started thinking something interesting. Because of the AI, now we will able to ask insane questions and find like a cross knowledge or cross beliefs or esotericism in every different religion, and really figure out which one, why, when, what is the source, what did they say, which one is better, which one is more truth, which one is more applicable. And I think we can go to an era that like we will finally figure out like unbelievable research and data, and finally, okay, this one was at least like this part of this religion is actually definitely works and looks like the truth, and AI will help us, I think, with that. Nice. But then I think we'll have more personalized religions.
Yes, there we go. Yeah. Maybe everyone has their own. Yeah.
Or like you get
you have an AI avatar
combination guru.
You're right, yeah. All right, we've got a few quick fire questions to finish it off. All right, I've given you my controversial belief, right, which is religion's going to rise. What's one of your controversial beliefs? I know you have many.
I have many, yeah. I really think we're gonna have a beautiful life, like with AI. Like with future of living.
AI leads to abundance.
I think like we are in Miami right now. I don't think we are meant to be on top of each other in buildings like sheeps.
Yeah.
And I don't think we are meant to born in this world to build pays after pays after pays. Everyone is negative with loans. I don't think that's we meant to. And I think when the capitalism is gone with AI, the whole system is crashed. I think we're gonna see like a huge uprising of like, actually, what are we? Like, are we like when you define human, it's just a money generation machine for someone else.
Yeah.
As a biologist, it's crazy, but I don't think we are that. So I believe in, you said no work. I believe in future of living, and that will be like, I think, a happier living for us.
Okay, nice. Define success.
I think success is if you are doing that you truly love and you are happy with what you have, I think it means you are successful.
Okay. If you could travel back in time and meet, 13-year-old Sahin, and he's selling his games.
Yes, yeah.
What's one piece of advice you would give him?
Yeah, this is very important. So when you're a tech person, you spend so much time in screen and less time with people. Now I am understanding that the network is everything. Like the people you know is everything.
So build a strong network.
But stronger than how? I think in my life, you just help people way more than they help you in every possible way. And you will get 10% of it, but that will be enough.
Yeah.
So I really realized this, I think when I was like 5-6 years ago, like the network, your friendships, your friends are the most valuable things. There's nothing. So I ignored that because I was a nerd. I was an engineer. Like I prefer to spend time on screen than, but now I'm like totally not. But then I realized I didn't have cool, smart people around me. Now I have like very smart people. So it's more fun to spend time with them.
There we go. Okay, that's a good nice insight.
Everything is network, like period.
Yeah.
Like because it will help you to find your team. It will help you to give you better ideas. But you really need to surround yourself people smarter than you or people's different expertise than you. I think that was like my biggest mistake, if you look at it as like a mistake.
If I gave you $1 million today, you've done a lot of startup investing in the past, right? But
yes, a lot. I did 180.
180, yeah. Probably our most prolific angel that I've ever spoken to.
No, there's like crazy. Like there's angel investors like 250, like 400.
Insane. But if I gave you $1 million today, what would you invest in?
Oof.
And you can't say your own company.
No, of course. But one investor told me that I would love to see some of your money in the company. I said, yeah, fine, I will put some money. Why not? I would prefer shares instead of common shares. Of course, I would prefer that. So all of my investments are robotics.
Interesting.
Nearly all of them. Robotics, automation. I'm fully moving to that. But the way I invest is, I always believe is these people are good product people, and it's the product that I will use in a parallel universe, like if I need it. Some products, because like I invest some companies that I will never use. But like, will I use it? If the question is yes, I really don't care the rest. And right now, automation, like the way I look at it is like, there's anything you do, there's the seller and the buyer, and there's so many people in the middle. And so many like systems in the middle. Anything that is decreasing that and automatizing and robotics I'm obsessed with robotics right now.
Nice.
Obsessed, like drones, robots, forklifts, Figure. I invest in Figure. I invest in 1X. I invest in a lot of drone companies. Factory automation is like where I am like putting my money on. I feel it's a little bit early. It's still
early. Yeah.
I think it's very early. Like, I also subscribe to Neo, like buy the Neo robot. It's gonna come, and then I learned that they are
Teleoperating, yeah.
what the hell? I was thinking it's like a real one. So it's like, I think it's too early.
It's still early, yeah. They haven't found a good way to learn.
Yeah,
right? They haven't found the models to learn.
Energy I am interested in.
Yeah.
In public markets, I put some money in all the nuclear. I really believe in
So
that.
I've got, the first thing I bought.
NNA,
First thing I
forgot
bought after my exit was
the atomic. Which one was it?
30 tons of pure uranium.
Yes,
So I bought the actual physical
No,
underlying uranium.
that's
put
cobalt,
it in
iridium.
storage.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah, I've got 30 metric tons of uranium. It's my first purchase after my exit.
Which, don't say the location, but which country you store
It's
it?
in France and Canada. Yeah.
And you can store that, huh?
Yeah, you can store. I mean, it's through.
And the
it's
price
through
is
an entity.
always going up, right?
It has since I bought, but it's very volatile. But we're still.
But the
yeah.
need is increasing.
Oh yeah,
now,
so that's the bet. So we'll see. I think
But do
2020,
you become
2028 is when
do you
I.
become a political exposed person when you have that? Like
It's not in my own name, but it's not in my own name.
because let's say by
It's under the mattress, you know.
I don't know, but
My house glows.
but mistakenly you go to a country they took we need that token key stand to that place. I wanna buy Shanghai trucks.
Interesting.
There's one guy told me many years ago. There's a place in Santa Cruz Mountain. I did this. I really feel the rocks and I feel it in my body. And then this guy said, you have to buy Shanghai trucks. And there's a place you can store it, huge Shanghai trucks. And at that time, I just gonna throw the numbers. It was $18 per whatever the kilogram. And now it's 1,000.
Oh really? Wow.
So much increase. I think I will do that later. Yeah.
Final question: how important do you think IQ is to success?
That's a good question. So this is I don't know how we get this question, but so I had an IQ test when I was very young, and I got the test, and they pulled me on the side, and they called my family, your guy is an idiot. So I got 80 in the IQ test.
80. Yes.
80.
IQ store. Yeah.
80.
How did you feel?
They told me you're an idiot. At that time, I believe. I was very young, It's because I was always a nerd a little bit, spend time in computers. I had good friends. I'm not horrible in emotional IQ, but it's okay. It means I'm an idiot. I have to live with this. So officially, scientifically, I'm an idiot, whatever the 80 is.
I think they got the test wrong.
I don't know. I don't want to do a conspiracy theory here, but let's say millions of people believe that. By that standards, I'm idiot. So let's also come to the question, Warren Buffett is always saying, if you have this much IQ in the stock market, you should throw it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's do you really need too much IQ? I don't think so.
Yeah, look.
So you can be successful with 80.
Yeah, so look, if you're watching this and you have a low IQ,
you can. This can be the YouTube title, low IQ founder.
The
lowest founder I met.
Highest ratio of exits to IQ.
It can be me. It can be scientifically me, by the way.
Well, look, we'll end on that really interesting and positive note. Thanks for speaking to us.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
Thank you. That was a good one.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, man.